a godly man, it takes action. Our true identity, if we are a Christ follower, is in Him and Him alone.
And ultimately, if you're a follower of Jesus, you have the Spirit of God dwelling inside of you, equipping you to fight.
And when you chase after Jesus, when you begin to worship Him and begin to give Him all that you have to give, there's nothing that this world can throw at you that you can't look at in the face and say, you know, I'm good with it.
Let's get it!
Martin Luther said it this way: "Let the world trust and glory in their wisdom, their might, their wealth, and their possession. My heart triumphs in the living God." Search your heart. What does it long for? What is your attitude toward worship? Is your vision of God so great and so satisfying that you cannot help but overflow with thanksgiving and praise? If we do not long to worship God, it is inevitably because something other than God has become great in our eyes. Psalm 16:11 says of God, "In your presence is fullness of joy, in your right hand there are pleasures forevermore." When we fail to fully delight in Him, we rob ourselves of the fullness of joy. Find satisfaction in God alone. Seek Him with your whole heart, and then He will be glorified, and you will be able to sing with the psalmist, "O God, you are my God. My soul is satisfied."
So I was listening to the Jocko Willing podcast this past week, and I always think it's weird how he starts this podcast with, "This is episode 500 of the Jocko Willing podcast. Good evening, Charles. Good evening, Echo. Evening." Then he starts off with a crazy story. Anyways, I thought that was interesting.
He probably does it for the editor, because every time I start editing, I'm like, which podcast is this?
Yeah.
Is this number 7, 8, season what?
That makes sense.
I don't know.
This is episode 6.
Are we sure?
I
I really don't remember. You're close though.
Yeah, I think that's
right.
right. Yeah.
That's about right.
Yeah.
So welcome to either episode 5 or 6. I think it's episode 6,
Season 3.
season 3. Mitch is looking it up.
Yep, 6.
Welcome to episode.
Mitch, can you turn to
6.
face us real quick? You got like a little kicker.
Where at?
Some hair.
Where at?
A little kicker right there. It looks. So if I just randomly start laughing in the middle of the podcast, it's just because I look over at Mitch's little
Thank
kicker.
you.
Is this? I feel like this is Cole's way of getting somebody back.
And this is going to be a good podcast. What were you saying? Sorry.
Sorry, Al.
It's okay. This is Cole's way of getting back for all the times that his hair's been messed up. That we've.
Listen, my hair is a wayward son. It just flies around. It gets tossed and blown by the wind.
I was going to say, yeah. What's the quote? Something about being tossed on.
Yeah, that's
Double-
double-minded man's unstable in all his ways.
Mm-hmm.
Cole's hair is unstable in all his ways.
Well, you do have some kickers on the backside, buddy.
I know.
Hey,
You ever seen a boat when the motor's trimmed up too high?
Rooster tail?
Fucking rooster tail.
that's why I wear a hat.
Yeah, I should probably get on the hat game.
I just don't like wearing hats that much, man.
But yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on. College World Series is happening right now. Florida is doing pretty good. They're playing TCU tonight. It's Wednesday when we record this podcast, so we will know if Florida wins or loses tonight.
You already see them probably playing the national championship. But is it Friday night coming up then? By the time this comes out,
When this drops, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like your confidence.
They're gonna take on Wake Forest then. Is that the prediction?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be hard to beat Wake Forest
So-
for LSU.
I was going to say LSU's got to beat them twice.
Yeah.
And Skeens has already pitched.
He pitched
Probably wouldn't be good until
He
Friday.
pitched 120 pitches. I
Probably.
think 60 or 57 of them were over 100 miles an hour. So that's cool.
I think like
probably
two
just
other
20.
starting pitchers are hurt this year for LSU, so that's hurt them or something like that.
Well, I know they got a good lineup. Their center fielder is supposed to be like number 1 overall.
Dylan Cruz?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a stud.
Yeah, he's legit.
Oh, needs to go be a baseball analyst.
Yeah.
You know, I got that tiger in me.
Oh my
forget
gosh.
Who's a Florida center fielder?
It depends. A lot of times it's Wyatt Langford, but he switches over to left.
Okay.
Trenton Thunder.
I was just making sure you actually knew some of Florida players. And
You
not
know what?
LSU players.
If his walk-up song isn't the loud
Thunder Heavy Rain.
Loud Thunder Heavy Rain, then he's doing it all wrong. Because he's the embodiment of that song.
I will say I was watching an Instagram reel of a Wake Forest pitcher pitching.
But he
You
looks
see
like
that?
he took like 50 grams of pre-workout
Yeah.
before the pitch. He's like going.
Yeah, he is. And
It's like dry scoop.
I don't know. I don't know if he
He
took
looks like he's on
anything, but
something.
he looked like he's on something. And
Is he like really tall? Is he real fidgety?
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Yes.
Because when I saw him on the mound,
He
was
keeps like taking his hat off.
I was
and,
gonna say like
running
he
his hand
could
through
not
his hair.
stand still.
yeah.
Yeah.
He probably has, and I don't want to say this in a mean way. He probably has some form of Tourette's,
Probably.
like why he moves around. But he threw an absolute hammer of a breaking ball. Like when he did, I was expecting like 90, 99. It was an absolute hammer, breaking ball straight the dude out in the side. So yeah, it's a good.
A wonderful series so far, though. There's been a lot of
There's been a lot of really
a lot
close
of the big
games.
talent doesn't quite make it to the
think
College
there's
World
been
Series.
One or two games that's been decided by more than one run. The
Yeah.
rest have all been one run.
Have y'all seen the third baseman for LSU?
Yes.
Yes.
He is the embodiment of a third baseman, like to a T. Has the flowy hair, jacked, wears the gold chains. I can't remember his name.
His shirt's unbuttoned halfway down. Yep.
Mhm.
I really liked Oral Roberts. I liked Oral Roberts.
R.I.P. though.
Yeah, let me tell you,
They gave us a scare the other night.
They did.
whenever when you put Oral Roberts against the Florida team and you just look at their guys compared to Florida, Oral Roberts is a bunch of grown men. They have 401ks established. They're getting ready. I mean, they're getting ready for like their retirement.
Well, that's how LSU looks when they step up to bat. They had one guy last night when they were playing in Tennessee for the elimination game. He looked like Mark McGuire. I'm not exaggerating. He looked just like him. I even told Lindsay that. She's like, yeah, he does. He does.
So how about this? Let's do a prediction real quick, since we got 3 Florida fans. Who is going to be in the national championship or in the World Series, and who's going to win it? And what is your series? So there's it's best of 3. Are they going to sweep? Is it going to be 2-1?
I don't think LSU has the depth of pitching to beat Wake Forest twice.
I think it'll be Wake and Florida. Just because LSU has to beat Wake twice, TCU has to beat Florida twice.
Yeah, I read last
If it
night
was the other way
that
around, like if we had to beat TCU twice, I would probably pick TCU to win. It's just hard to beat.
if you're 2-0 going into an elimination game, they say you have a 70% chance of
It's
making
hard
it
to
to the
beat.
final.
I know it's baseball and you can't really predict it, but still. I think it's going to be Florida Wake, and just because I'm a Gator, I'll say Florida will win on Game 3.
I think it's going to be Florida Wake. I think Florida's going to show up. I think they're going to win the game 1 against Wake Forest. I have this thing where the number 1 team never wins the College World Series. I mean, it happened last year against Tennessee. Tennessee lost in the Super Regionals. So I have Florida winning game 1, Wake Forest winning game 2. I think game 3 is going to be an absolute nail biter. It's going to really come down to bullpen. I think it's going to come down to depth of pitching. I know Florida's problem is their bullpen, right? They don't really have a great bullpen, or is that something that somebody told me for made up?
Florida?
Yeah.
They're hot right now, though.
So
Rote and Waldrop are throwing lights out.
So I think Florida is going to take it. But my only concern with Florida is, as we were talking before the podcast, all they do is hit home runs, and eventually the home run juice goes away.
It hurts when the flag is going straight out of center field towards home plate every game. And then you can tell when the flag drops down, that's when else and everybody starts hitting bombs.
Yeah. So I think Florida's going to win it. I think it's the number 1 seed curse. I don't think Wake Forest got it. I think they're the best team in the tournament. I just don't know if they'll win it. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I agree. I actually think LSU is probably the best overall team in the tournament. But I don't know that they can beat Wake Forest twice. So I'll agree with everyone. I'll agree with Mitch. That was going to be my prediction before he said it. So Florida.
You know what?
Florida
Because
in
of
3 games.
sports, just because of sports, I'm going to say LSU beats Wake Forest.
Twice.
2 games in a row.
I would like it if LSU would beat them game 1 for sure.
I mean,
Florida
I
wins
think
tonight,
if
that
they
would be
win
very
game 1, then would they pitch Skeens on a Thursday?
Yeah, probably. He would be involved in some capacity, right? Because
So if you're pitching Skeens on Thursday, then I think that you get them to the national championship, and then you'd be able to pitch him probably game 3 of the national championship.
But last time we played LSU in the national championship game, we know what happened. So
Yeah, me and Mitch were talking the other day. I can't speak for him. I think he said this, but I won't put words in his mouth if he didn't. I think I want to retract my
we can revisit.
stance on softball being more entertaining than college baseball.
The pitch clock has changed everything.
The pitch clock has changed the whole game.
Yeah.
The whole entertaining factor of watching.
Absolutely. And I think it might have been because Florida State was in the national championship this year, so it was just not an entertaining game in the College World Series. Is that the case?
Somehow, AB, you were gonna get stabbed at.
Oh yeah, I mean, I usually just expect it from Cole, but that's okay. I mean, they played an Oklahoma team who hasn't lost in 54 games, and it's hard to. It's really
extra innings by one
and
run.
it's really hard to root against Oklahoma when all their top 3 players and their coach are literally proclaiming Christ at a press conference.
That was phenomenal.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
So
That was pretty cool.
Because it wasn't just like a glory to God. It was
no,
like,
yeah, like
it
legit.
was like laying it out, and I was like, wow.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to vote against that. Florida State would not have done that if they would have won. Just gonna let you know. Oh, neither would have Florida, by the way.
No,
Neither would Florida.
No, you can read their lips when they're walking in the dugout.
Yeah. Yeah.
Last night's LSU Tennessee game, you could audibly hear when somebody struck out 3 or 4 times. There was a many words spoken of frustration.
Oh yeah.
Cracking me up.
You know, I'm just glad that y'all finally came over to the good side. You know, y'all finally realized. And I even said this. I mean, I did say this. Playoff baseball is a different kind of game. And y'all said it too. Listen, playoff baseball.
I'm all in when it comes to
there's something
regional,
different.
super regional.
Pretty sure we all said we're like, well, we need to revisit this at some point when the World Series are going on. Well, here we are.
Yeah. Because I would like to see the numbers for this. There's got to be more viewership for the College World Series than the Softball World Series.
I think probably
It's a
double.
growing brand, though. I think a lot of folks are watching college softball now.
Yeah.
I heard that the other day on the
Hey.
radio that apparently like the numbers are skyrocketing.
You know why?
for softball.
Let's just go ahead and get out there. It's because equal pay. They want the women to be equally paid, so they're supporting them better.
Mm-hmm.
Patreon
Yeah, so
segment.
I looked up I searched MCWS ratings, men's college World Series.
Yeah.
It pulled up the Muslim community of western suburbs.
Can't be that good.
So there's that.
Muslim
Mitch,
community
you
of
are
Western
now,
suburbs.
You are now pinned and targeted by the U.S. government.
You could have just said,
Love to see what that does for your algorithm now.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. This is in 2021. Apparently, why does it keep doing that? Apparently, the Women's College World Series crushed the Men's College World Series in ratings.
I'm telling you, softball's a growing brand. for
2021.
people.
Was that when Florida State won?
No, that was 19, I think.
Okay.
no, I thought we won it a couple years
No, you're right. It was 21. Mm-hmm.
Women's College World Series average 1.2 million viewers, and the men's 755,000.
Wait, if Oklahoma won 3 in a row, then they wouldn't have won in 21.
Did they win?
It says it's Oklahoma, LSU, or FSU. Dang.
Well, here's also something to keep into consideration. People don't have a lot of patience.
Oh yeah.
A women's college world series is literally like, I mean, it's an hour and a half,
Yeah.
and it's 3 games, maybe 2 games.
And
Baseball's a grind.
And also, would you say that there's? I don't know why I would ask this question. You would say this. There's more strategy in baseball.
Yes.
In softball, can't the pitcher just? Pitch?
Well, that was my argument of why baseball is the better sport, anyways. Because Oklahoma's pitcher got out there and dominated the entire.
Yeah.
One. It's like basketball. One person can dominate an entire game.
Yeah.
Can't be that way for baseball. As you see, Oral Roberts, somebody you've never heard before. By the way, shout out to the first base coach giving gummy worms on the first base. That's kind of cool. So, anyways, college baseball. It's good. It's good. It's always a good College World Series. Good time of the year. Nice and hot.
It's a refresher because you're starting to crave college football a little bit more than normal. Like
Yeah.
the starting to kick in that you're ready for the fall again?
I think it's a good. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's a good because it brings out that competitiveness of like March Madness does too. I don't really get into March Madness because I don't like basketball that much. But to me, college baseball because after college baseball, it's college football.
Yeah. So there's a lull.
Yeah. So I'm just glad y'all came around and y'all agree to my point now.
66 days till college football. We're getting there.
Too many.
Florida goes to Utah.
We're gonna get.
Yep.
On a Thursday.
Ooh, that's rough.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
Don't like that one bit. So, good talk, guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I will say, since we're on the sports of topic of sports, yesterday I played 18 holes. You know, like when you go and you play, and you haven't played in a while, you're like, man, I feel like I could play like a few days in a row. Like I feel like I could play like 36 holes. That was not the case after yesterday's round. Listen, usually a clear day is usually rough for me. It doesn't matter what the weather's like. If it's clear, no wind, it's going to be a rough day. But you add 20-mile-an-hour gust of wind, it adds a level of difficulty that I'm just not quite prepared for. I will say one thing that was interesting was my driver I could not find the fairway, so I literally put it in the bag and I used a 3-wood the rest of the round.
Discipline. Put in timeout.
I did. I put the cover back on.
You can't get better if you don't swing.
And
I'm a little disappointed in you for not.
Did you start hitting fairways with a 3-wood?
Yeah.
Well, then I think it was a good strategy.
Yeah.
I don't think it was.
So you'll be hit out of the woods the entire time?
If that means you're not getting better, then yeah.
You get better at the driving range.
You get better when you play golf.
What I've noticed about some of these nicer golf courses is that, like in Jefferson or Madison, if you miss the fairway, you have a pretty good shot of like getting back on green.
Some roots and whatnot, but yeah.
When you go to a better golf course and you miss the fairway, there's like no chance of you getting to the green 4. It's either you punch out or you try to hit through a bunch of, trees and rough. And by the way, there's a bunch of water in PCB.
That makes sense.
So, in case you are wondering.
It's like the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
Did not want to be off the fairway.
Oh no!
My boy Wyndham Clark, though, he hit every fairway and green in regulation.
Hey, what do we think about the what do we think about the Wyndham Clark? Have y'all heard about the whole?
He's a big fly fisherman. Yeah.
No one's.
That's
heard
not
of
what
that.
I'm. The controversy of his shot, where the
heard about
ball
that.
moved backwards. They said the ball moved backwards, and if it would have if that happens, it's supposed to give you a 2-stroke penalty, and Rory would have won.
I did not hear about that.
So he was in the rough, right? He was in the rough.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
And he placed. I mean, he grounded his club, which is fine.
I saw a video of that, but I didn't keep up with it.
Yeah, and they say they think the ball moved backwards.
He put his wedge on it
Yep.
to get ready to swing, and then he balked it back, and then it moved backwards.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which, by the way, happens to me all the time. I would get 2-stroke penalties out the wazoo if I was in a.
The Garmin would have still called it a par.
That's right. Yeah, Cole in his last round shot 72, man.
I really did.
Wow.
Front
According
nine?
to the Garmin.
Front 9.
No, seriously, the
About
Garmin
what I
says I
in
shot
the
a
front nine the
72.
other day.
It asked,
Jared, go ahead. No,
it asked me for my score every time we walk off the green.
So
As soon as we're walking off, and I say, just make it easy. Just hit the green check at the top. Just don't need to scroll up.
Took a bar.
it's a fairway hit, 2-putt par every time.
The Garmin has Cole at a scratch golfer handicap.
There's this world famous in the Garmin community, this guy named Cole Schwab, and everybody's trying to figure out who he is.
We're gonna go to a tournament We're gonna go to a 4-man scramble one day, and they're gonna look at the Garmin golf rankings, and we're gonna have Cole at a plus 20 handicap, and they're gonna say, no, he's a scratch golfer. That will be a rough
think,
day.
I think the and Cole can disagree with this if he wants, but I think the golf days for Cole
Numbered.
are getting slim
Numbered.
because
And I'm okay with I think the good Lord's preparing me for it's kind of like when a mother before she has her baby, the Lord prepares her for birth and he prepares her for the natural ways of life of through
it's a bold comparison.
through nesting and other things, preparing the home. Well, the Lord's preparing my body and my mind for birth. And that is what I mean by that is I've played the 2 worst rounds of my life the past 2 times. And in my mind, goodbye golf. I'm okay with it. I'm about to sell my clubs.
Wow.
And I'm okay with it.
Jeez.
If you guys ask me to play golf anymore this summer, I'm probably going to turn you down.
All right, Daniel Everett, get ready, buddy.
Yep.
Wow, that's bold. There's no way.
You call my bluff on that?
Get too much
Yeah.
FOMO.
I
Next
am.
time we play at Southwood and you're right up there on top of that hill on Biltmore Avenue, you're gonna be Cole's gonna be
You're gonna
in
see-
the window.
No, we're gonna be on a hole, and it's like we're gonna hit and there's just gonna be this random guy standing up there. He's just gonna have his hands on his hips watching.
Yep.
He's not gonna say anything. He's gonna have his dog right here beside him.
Listen,
Maybe in
He's
his baby
I was gonna
arm.
say he had a stroller, Piper on the side.
He's gonna be watching.
guys, I'm telling you, I'm done. I'm putting in the clubs for the year.
I don't believe it.
Okay. You'll see.
I'm calling your bluff.
Yeah, I'm
Call
calling.
my bluff.
Calling it.
Is there any wagers on this?
No, but I mean, but by the time we get to December or November, you'll forget about this by now.
Your word. That's the wager.
I meant between now and the end of summer is what I said.
About
Oh,
Between now and August 19th, which is Truett's due date.
okay.
I'm not playing. I'm done mentally. I'm not in the golf game right now.
Jared, I think right now would be a good time for me and you to match up against Cole and Mitch.
It would be.
Yeah.
Boys, it'd be a great time.
It'd be a wonderful time.
For y'all.
It'd be a bludgeoning.
Hey, Evie, riding in the golf cart. Mitch, man, we need to hurry up and go. I got things to do. I gotta go.
I got
cook.
some shelves to build.
I got a butt to smoke.
I'm playing significantly better
Pork butt,
golf
that
than I
is.
was then, and still wouldn't.
yeah.
So, yeah, I believe you. You're probably not going to play anymore this summer.
The last 2 rounds just did me in. It was the worst 2 rounds I think.
I will say too, by the way, it is getting brutally hot.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Brutally hot. So if you don't play in the morning, you just don't play. You can do twilight round, I guess. But
Then you got thunderstorms.
Well, fellas, I say we take a break. We'll come back, have some more discussions, and have a good with it from Mr. Schwab. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
welcome back to a Good With It podcast. I got Celsius in me, literally running through my freaking veins right now. So I am hype, pumped, ready to be here, excited to go. Mitch, dark joke.
Mitch, I hear you have a dark joke.
Am I doing it?
Yeah.
Oh shoot!
Yikes.
Hold on.
If you're sensitive, cover your ears.
Stall for me, boys. Hang on.
saw
One
it.
second.
Does it glorify Christ?
I probably not.
Well, there's our viewer.
I saw a
What's it
funny
called?
joke the other day. It said, when you look up symptoms of dementia, and you go to Google it, and one of the tabs is purple.
Oh jeez.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about that.
Mitch,
Got it, Mitch?
Okay. Hopefully I don't mess this up. Knock knock.
who's there?
Danny.
Danny who?
At that moment, Danny looked into his mother's eyes as one single tear led down his cheek as he realized she has dementia. I'm sorry.
I saw this Instagram reel the other day, and it was this lady who
Why are we on dementia right now?
This is awful.
Lord forgive me.
Have you seen that? Have you seen that Shia LaBeouf meme? Say Jesus is Lord.
Christ is Lord.
We'll start.
Say it.
I'm gonna start going around the people saying that.
What is that from?
I think that's from the. That's from. No, that's not. There's a tank movie that he's.
Coles, right?
What's that tank? What's that movie that he's in? It's about the what he's in.
Fury?
with
Fury?
Brad Pitt.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
Fury.
it's
No,
not in
'cause
Fury,
he's
but
wearing, like-
Fury is a in Fury he's a
That's right.
believer. In Fury too. So
Isn't like kind of he dabbling in that or something?
You can't dabble. You got to be all in or you're all out.
Yeah, but like
There's one or the other. You can't be lukewarm. Jesus will spit you out.
Okay.
Jeez, man.
you're right.
Are you a dabbling man right now? Is that what you're saying?
No. What I'm saying is, I thought I heard him in an interview saying like he's trying to figure that out.
God would say, Mitch who?
At that moment, Mitch had one single tear. Oh man!
I'll tell you this, since we're on the topic of Shia LaBeouf, I watched the greatest game ever played.
Shia LaBeouf.
I watched the.
Say since we're on the topic of dementia.
What?
Oh boy,
Shia LaBeouf.
How was the greatest game ever played?
the greatest
That
game
about
ever
Badger
played.
Vance.
No, that
No.
would be the Legend of Bagger Vance. It's about Bagger Vance. Greatest game ever played is about Francis We Met.
Oh yeah, he has that little peewee dude that's his caddy.
So I watched this movie a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just got a hankering to watch it again. And as I remember, just an incredible movie. So much so that I bought the book.
Oh, nice.
That's when you know it's a
Another
good
was a book.
movie.
Yeah.
That's when you know it compels
Yeah.
you to buy the book.
It's up there in terms of golf movies.
It is, but like he didn't really get into golf much after that. He won. I think he won 2 amateur championships. But man, you talk about. I was thinking, putting on those greens would probably be like putting on this carpet.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah,
Right then.
probably pretty slow.
Yeah,
I would think so. But
and their clubs. What do they call the driver? They didn't call it a driver.
Niblick.
Niblick.
Wow.
I got a Niblick now that I use as a driver.
Oh yeah, you do.
Mm.
That you know what? Fun fact: I've heard that's where when it says "hit it on the screws,"
Mm.
that's where it comes from
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because it has like 4 screws in the driver head.
Exactly. Makes a lot of sense.
Yep,
So is that what you're watching right now?
that's what I watched.
Really good.
Mm.
Really good, Cole.
Big
On a TV
feedback.
show?
Big
TV show?
feedback. Big feedback. Big feedback. Netflix sucks.
Really?
Yes.
I'll take.
Yeah, that is a hot take. You know why? Because they realize that they're missing out on a lot of money for people using other people's Netflix account.
Yeah.
So now they won't. You have to. It's like $7.99 to pay outside of the household.
Ridiculous.
So I'm a big Max guy.
How do they monitor that? How do they?
I'm not sure, but
They probably have your location.
they
Government
probably
oversight.
do. They probably have. I mean, you could track anything these days. So I don't have Netflix anymore.
It's not necessary anymore. Netflix
It's
is like
$7.99 on top of your whatever your Netflix subscription is to have another household.
I would put Max over Netflix right now anyways. Hulu and Amazon Prime right now over Netflix. It's
Oh,
a
yeah.
superior programming.
HBO
Or-
Max.
Max.
I mean, I think the
Peacock, your move.
biggest. What'd you say?
No. Keep going, please.
I mean, to me, the best is probably the Disney bundle, right?
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
No doubt.
'Cause you get Disney
I forgot
Plus,
I had
Hulu, and
ESPN.
Plus.
I forgot I had ESPN the Plus the other day till I logged on to Hulu and saw that it had live streaming sporting events.
Yeah. It's pretty nice.
So my brother-in-law, he has Disney Plus or the bundle.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, man, I've been wanting to watch the Super Regional that Florida's in, but you can only watch it on ESPN Plus. So I went ahead and bought the subscription. So I've got it for like a year now. I said, you realize we got
out.
it with the
Get out.
the bundle, right? He goes, oh, really?
And there's all those 30 for 30s too on ESPN.
Yeah.
I used to love to watch them. I haven't watched one in a while.
Are they making one on? They're finally making one on the Florida team.
Yeah, Netflix is bringing out.
Netflix.
Preachers and prisoners. That's what it should be called.
Yeah.
Urban Meyer is for sure going to be in it.
Yep.
I'm sure Tebow.
Yeah.
Tebow Harvin will be in it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All those washed up
And
players
Spikes.
now that don't do anything, they're like, oh
Mhm.
yeah, let me get some money from this 30 for 30.
I saw Joe Hayden was on ESPN the other day. I was in Sonny's, and that's a debate for another time. Superior rib, by the way, one of the best I've ever had. What came from
Sonny's?
Yeah, Sonny's the other day.
Sonny's?
The
Yeah,
most
swear.
overrated barbecue place ever.
I used to say that too until I had their ribs the other day. I put them against anybody now. Anyways,
That was the tack.
it's perfect.
Was it tit for tat?
Tack was perfect.
Anyways, I saw Joe Hayden was on ESPN the other day. I said, that's Joe Hayden.
I watched a video of Reggie Bush shooting a hole in one. Anybody else have anything random they want to say?
Jared, what are you watching right now?
But
the awkward silence in that
I
was.
was about to say
So AB mentioned it the other day, asked me about it. So I started it back. Started watching Suits.
Oh, I want to watch it so bad. Where's it? What is it on?
Netflix.
Great.
Sorry about that, but
$7.99.
started back
up.
Suits.
I've been watching a bunch of fun fact about me, if you don't know. I have a I have a screen time. This is a short story. Screen time on my phone. My social media I only allow a few like an hour or so a day. When it runs out, I just go to YouTube and watch YouTube Shorts. So I'm really getting around nothing. But Suits are on. I watch the Suits shorts on
yeah.
YouTube Shorts.
There's some pretty cool scenes in it, like
Yeah.
What's
the
it
guy
about?
in it. It's just about
Suits.
Suits, is what it's called.
Lawyers.
Business.
It's
So
lawyers.
it's basically the watered down version of Succession.
No, it's the first
Mm.
version of Succession that I guess the Succession tried to copy.
Okay.
But yeah, it's about a guy that he's a genius, but kind of messed up his life, so didn't get into law school, and then kind of meanders his way into this law firm, and he gets under this guy that's like the best lawyer that's in New York, and he's a bad man.
It's
Harvey
8.4
Harvey
out of
Specter.
10 on IMDb.
It's a what?
8.4 out of 10.
Oh.
It's pretty high. 90% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Hey.
It has the princess on it.
Oh, yeah, it has
Oh,
Megan,
yeah.
Duchess of so and such.
Yeah.
Sussex.
Okay,
I'm just
Sussex.
kidding, I don't know. You mean tell you who would know? My sister.
Yeah.
Dude, my sister's all
Hold on now.
She's into that kind of stuff.
Hold on, bitch. You might be on to something because
She really the Duchess of
on
Sussex?
here it says cast Megan, Duchess of SU, and then it goes ... because it's too long. Let me click on it.
Google it.
Look at you.
Was I
Sussex.
right? My sister is so happy right now listening to
I
this.
didn't know she was
Is
an
she
actress.
punching the air?
Yeah.
She was.
Enjoy though. Not in but yeah. Yeah. She dabbled in the acting for a little bit.
That might be why it's rated so high. Everybody's too scared to say something against the queen.
Could be. Who knows? I think it's a good show.
The royal
It's not. It. I mean,
Oh, that's the royal
I don't know
family
that.
too.
Not my royal family. My royal family was Jesus Christ and his father, the Lord. That's his brother. Excuse me. His father.
My holy family is
Say
Jesus.
Jesus is Lord. Say Christ is Lord.
My holy family is Jesus Christ. And the Father and the Holy Spirit.
Cole, what are you watching right now?
I'm in a major slump.
Oh no.
I'm really all ears right now. I'm taking all suggestions because Lindsay and I have gone through about 3 weeks now of trying to
Find
to
something.
watch tonight. And
Yeah.
then next thing you know, we're just kind of on our phones for about 45 minutes, and then I fall asleep.
Yeah.
And she gets mad because we didn't watch a show or something, and it's on me. So we need a good show. I'm taking all suggestions right now. College World Series
I
has been big.
saw. I think Extraction 2's on Netflix now.
I saw that. I'm gonna have to watch that one by myself though
Yeah.
because
Yeah, it's definitely it. Probably.
That's null and void for me. I'm boycotting Netflix.
Oppenheimer.
it's Chris Hemsworth. It's one of your favorite actors.
Yeah, I love Chris Hemsworth. Oppenheimer's gonna be on.
I
Oppenheimer's
just saw
coming out.
AB secretly just go down to his phone and just kind of re-download the app. and
When
does it come out?
I thought it's in July.
The end of July.
What movie?
Oh, okay.
Oppenheimer.
No, it comes out. I thought like July 4th weekend. No, you're right.
No,
July
it's July
31st.
Has anybody watched The Covenant?
The Covenant.
No, with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
No.
I heard someone made a list the other day, and they put it as their most favorite war movie of all time.
No shot.
I don't like. I just saw the list. I don't even know who it
Highest
was.
recency.
They must have
be.
never seen 12 Strong then.
12 Strong was on there.
Incredible war movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna watch it the other day, but to rent it was $25.
Yeah.
I said,
Yeah.
No,
I bet it's on Netflix.
but it is.
Will be like next
Actually,
year.
I think it is. I think I've seen it on Netflix. Yeah. Christopher Nolan said for Oppenheimer that you're going to be able to literally feel.
I am so
He
excited.
took a
for
real
this
atomic
movie.
bomb and blew it up and videoed the
He
atomic
said
bomb.
CGI wasn't. CGI wouldn't do it.
Such a baller
justice.
move.
Wow.
Yeah, have y'all seen the? I don't know what movie it's from, but it's the lady praying.
Oh,
You
it's
seen that?
it's
It's like-
Spider-Man 1. Spider-Man
because
1.
It's Barbie. People in the
next
Barbie
door.
movie next to Oppenheimer, and the lady's praying, like being real quiet, and then all of a sudden an explosion happens.
Green
like,
Goblin comes in.
Yeah, that's what it is.
You know what would be wild? And I know that this would disrupt all viewing experience, but if you're watching, like if you're just sitting in the movie theater about to go watch a movie and the Oppenheimer showing and they plays the bomb and it's so loud that you could actually hear it from the lobby area.
That'd be kind of cool.
What if they give you earplugs as you go into the theater?
I would not wear them.
So we are going to go see Oppenheimer, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
When are y'all gonna go watch it? I'll watch it the day before. Then I'll go.
Yeah, that's
And then you say
par
about
for the
30
course.
seconds before, hey, they're about to drop the bomb.
Hey, by the way, they're about to drop the bomb.
that's the best part.
And there's probably one scene where you think they're about to drop the bomb, but then it's like, oh, wait, actually, it's not. So then he's going to say, hey, they don't drop it right here. Don't worry. Don't do it. Thank you, AB. So I'm open to all suggestions if y'all have any other shows.
So,
okay.
can I tell you a show that I'm starting again? So we go on a lull too. You know, I'm always in a movie kick. I don't really get into shows. I'm a big movie person, and that's a problem at 8:00 at night. So I'm watching Band of Brothers again.
I was just about to say, I'm waiting on AB to tell us he's watching Band of Brothers again.
It's just like that's like the only thing on HBO Max that I just go to. Max, excuse me.
Hey. Thank you.
Yeah, Max.
Max. Hey, what's your picture icon on HBO Max? Max.
I don't have a picture icon. It's just I do have one on Paramount Plus, but I don't have one. It's
So
just
what is on Paramount Plus? SpongeBob?
I don't know. It's like some weird person. Anyways, that's
I
what
will
I'm
say,
watching.
guys, Grocery Games is on Max. I might get into that a little bit.
Are you serious?
I watched that on the cruise.
Good.
Because they had like 6 channels on the cruise, remember?
Yeah,
And I would watch. One of them was the Food Network, and they kept showing guys Grocery Games, and I got really into that show. It was really
Let
incredible.
me tell you, the worst part about that TV thing on the cruise is the movie channel.
Yeah.
You do 30 minutes in between movies. Yours is one of the Muppets. Or not the Muppets. Is that a Muppet?
It's the picture for LSU.
It looks like this, like if you drew a caricature of a typical Louisiana man. That's what it is. Big mustache, mullet.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You know what my favorite channel was on the cruise? Watching the front of the ship,
The what they call that?
especially at night.
Yeah.
The night camera.
Speaking of ships, did y'all see the submarine?
He is missing.
That is terrible.
Yeah, we probably should be praying for them.
Yeah.
You know, let me tell you what probably the worst part about the entire situation is number one, being lost at the bottom, but also you have no idea if they're actually trying to rescue you or not.
Yeah.
There's no communication.
Yeah.
So you're sitting down there
That
like,
would be a
probably
terrible
gonna die.
situation if you're sitting in a confined space, pitch black dark in the cold ocean, just sitting there, hours on end.
Yeah. I think yesterday morning they said they had 40 hours of air left.
Yeah, it was like Thursday. They would make it to like Thursday morning or something like that, and then
So-
oxygen would be depleted.
It's yeah, that's pretty bad.
That's
I
pretty-
saw a quote
pretty
from one of the crew members, and they were like, "If something goes bad, we're probably gonna die." So like, at least he knew that.
Let me just go ahead and say that we're praying for those who are in the passenger. We hope they get rescued. If they do get rescued, that is going to be the best movie ever.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be dark. I can't. I'm just kidding.
No, they'll have like a little emergency light that they say flickers on, but really in reality they were in the dark.
It's like the scene in Titanic when the power goes out. It's like obviously you can still see in the movie, but like when you see the actual description,
Yeah, when you have you
Couldn't see
seen
nothing.
have you seen like where they say this is what the Titanic actually looked like? Nothing.
Mm.
Can't see anything.
Be scary.
Terrifying. Anyways, that's what I'm watching. Mitch, on to you. What are you watching?
not a thing.
Okay, good
Oh,
for you.
Y'all know me. I don't really watch a ton of shows. So Suits, I might dabble in the suit game.
I'm a dabble in
Netflix,
suits.
though, right?
I
It's on
got to see
Netflix.
Megan of Duchess.
Yeah.
Sussex.
Megan, Duchess of
Mm.
Sussex.
I'm not sure that's a show I'd recommend to all viewers.
Thank you, Jared.
It's not the worst. Like,
Could you get it on VidAngel?
I don't know. I'm sure you could.
VidAngel's
What?
pretty
You
cool.
can if you can connect that to
VidAngel?
Netflix.
What is that?
VidAngel. Here's a promo. VidAngel allows you to watch movies and bleeps out the bad parts.
Oh, that's pretty.
Takes out all sexual content as well.
Nice.
So I guess whatever's on
You're
the
saying if you put that on Wolf of Wall Street, you wouldn't watch the movie at all.
Be silent movie.
I doubt this up probably even on VidAngel, to be honest with you. It probably
It's too much work. They couldn't censor it out. So, good to know.
That's what we're watching.
I think our goal is to get to this here good with it segment, but we're gonna take a break first,
yeah. Let's take a break.
and then we'll dabble into the good with it, and then we'll talk about we're making Cole, we're stalling Cole for his good with it over there.
Taking a break. I'm just gonna give me a little nap and then we're taking a break.
Then we'll tackle good with it, and we'll talk about worship. So,
Yes, we will.
see you on the other side.
Welcome back in. Guys, we got to go with it for the ages. You guys alluded to it earlier, and I'm a little sad that you kind of stole a little bit of my thunder for this Go With It podcast.
I knew you were getting a little depressed over there.
Yeah, I kind of
Earlier.
started being real quiet when you talked about the College World Series. I have a hot take. I already know there's one person in this room that's going to not be good with it, and there's another person
Staring into my soul as he says.
No, I didn't mean at you. There's somebody else.
I don't know who it is, guys, but there's going to be one
There's
person.
gonna
in
be
here
one person.
that's not going to like this.
I think. So as you know, the NCAA hosts this tournament. There's basically two NCAA tournaments everybody thinks of. One super famous, one not so much, i.e., college baseball. So College World Series hosted by the NCAA. Now that being said, March Madness is an NCAA basketball tournament. I think it's the worst sporting event of the year.
You're on crack. I'm not good with it. Wow. Whatever you're about to say, I'm not good with it.
That's it. I think that the March Madness basketball tournament is overrated and the worst waste of time in March.
Coming from a guy who didn't last one quarter in high school basketball because he fouled out every game, I'm not here for your opinion on
Nothing
this.
to do
Shots
with
fired.
most people that watch the tournament.
Not here
In
for
theory, if you only have 5 people on the court at all times, most people in theory watching this tournament don't even play basketball.
The
anyways.
worst sporting event?
The worst
Of the year?
sporting event of the year.
You would rather watch the Kentucky Derby?
Yeah, I watched the.
You would rather watch cricket.
Yeah,
Now, let me ask this. All right, is it...
Nope.
Well, wait a minute.
but I would say it's-
Hold on.
That's what you said.
Hold on. Is it the worst sporting event, or is it the worst out of the two NCAA sporting
I would say that, and it's just the worst college officiant sporting event. It's just overrated, and I think it's not near as good as College World Series, Women's College World Series. I even put it against the Lax Bros. I say is even better.
Golly, now you're just...
You're
Okay, no. I stopped there. I digress. But anyways, you know my thoughts. I think you want to know how many minutes of the men's basketball tournament I watched this year? 0.
cool.
And I was
So then
proud
why
of
do you
it.
have an opinion on it?
Because I don't like it. I'm just saying. I think it's overrated. I don't get the point of it.
Well, I mean, I love basketball and I love to watch basketball, so I don't know. I'm not good with it at all. I would rather watch March Madness than I would the College World Series.
So why is that? What makes it a better event?
Because I stopped playing baseball when I was young, and I
Okay.
don't like
But so when did you stop playing soccer?
soccer. I never played soccer.
But you watch soccer.
That's an argument for a different day.
No, that's what you just said. You stopped playing baseball
well,
when you
I'll
were
be
young,
honest.
so you don't.
You got me with that one. That's fair. That's a fair point. But to me, I would rather watch basketball than I would baseball.
Okay.
Because I understand it better. That's for sure.
That's fair.
I mean, AB's the mind of baseball over here. I don't understand baseball that well. I mean, I do, but not like I do basketball. So I would just rather watch basketball than baseball.
Okay, if the argument is that it is the worst NCAA put on event, like you said with baseball and March Madness, I would say I'm good with that. But if you're saying that it's the worst tournament of the year,
As far as is it fun to watch on TV? Is it entertaining? Do you enjoy watching the product?
Yes.
I think it's all overrated though. I personally do.
so I don't like I don't like watching basketball.
If it wasn't for all these brackets, okay.
You don't have to fill out a bracket.
I know that. I'm just saying if that was not a thing, I think that hardly anybody will watch the tournament.
Okay.
But it is a thing.
It is.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
they
but-
created a thing to incentivize people to watch the tournament.
Are you
Because
sure?
they realize
about
the
that?
numbers are low.
Are you sure about that?
I would put money on that. Has to be. Capitalism.
So I'm still confused on what is the
Is it the worst, or is it the worst in compared to something else?
I'd
What
say
are
it's
we
the
debating?
worst.
is it or is it just overrated?
It's overrated. We'll just settle at that. It's
So-
overrated.
So March Madness is overrated.
Mhm.
Okay. I mean, in my opinion, yes, because I don't watch basketball. I mean, that's why I don't.
This is one of the more subjective topics. You either like it or you don't. There's no, and I like it a lot.
Also, you're probably gonna like it more if you're a Kentucky fan or a
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Duke fan because, sorry, y'all don't win anything else. So
Kansas. Shout out Kansas Jayhawks.
Yeah.
Rock Chalk Jayhawk.
Hey, they started 5-0 last year in football. So yeah, you know what, Cole? I'll be good with it. I would join you.
Well, as y'all know, 2 weeks in a row, the person has set up that they were not good with it, but then they were good with it.
Oh yeah, that's
Not
true.
the case this week. I'm not good with it either, so I got you, AB.
Also, little fun fact.
Wait, hold on. You're not good with it?
No,
You are good with it.
I agree with AB.
Okay. I was about to say, because if you're not good with it, you're with me then, buddy.
So yeah, I'll say, you know what? Yeah, March Madness is overrated. Come at me. March Madness is overrated.
Again, I think it's one of those things. It's the hey dudes of NCAA tournaments. When it's finally spoken up, people agree. The people speak.
I'm glad it's early in the morning right now.
Always has to go back to hey dudes.
Yeah.
Well,
Still haven't seen them wear them since then.
you saw him at my house. Wore him at my house the other day. Well, the problem now is that the wording of this has completely changed.
Yeah, it's changed.
It went from being the worst tournament of all time to ever
It's
exist
6
in
a.m.,
human
okay?
mankind.
I just thought of this on the way here, okay?
to it's
Work
the
with me
worst college tournament to it's the worst NCAA tournament to
Cut us
it's
some slack.
overrated.
Cut us some slack.
It's overrated.
Overrated. Overrated. I could see your point, and
So would
There's
you
a-
rather
there's a
watch the
sense of
men's
me that-
tournament over the College World Series?
if Florida's not in the College World Series, yes.
And also, Cole, what a really good time to ask him this question while we're in the heat of the College World Series.
Maybe I've been waiting.
Yeah, I bet.
But see, I've watched 2 years ago. I was on the big Mississippi State bandwagon. Last year wasn't really on the Ole Miss bandwagon, but it was fun to watch them win. It's a fun tournament.
It's a fun tournament. To me, the thing you get with March Madness that I love is the chaos of it.
Yes.
That you can never predict what's going to happen. I think so far in the College World Series, it's been pretty much chalk of
This
what
year.
of what
This
you would expect.
But normally there's usually the
don't
teams
know.
you expect to be in Omaha. Half the field's not in Omaha.
You could argue that Oral Roberts was not
Yep.
supposed to be in the College World
but we're
Series.
talking about the College World, the tournament of the College World Series.
Technically,
So
the
you
tournament
take
is
you take the
64
teams that are in the
go into
College World
regional.
Series, and so far the winners of each team has pretty much been chalk, except for maybe Oral Roberts over TCU the first round. That would be the only one that.
Technically, Omaha's the Elite Eight of same thing.
Don't two different things.
No, but you're talking tournament to tournament,
Technically, Elite Eight.
but you're saying
The
tournament to
entire
tournament.
NCAA tournament of baseball is 64 teams. That's set up the exact same way.
Either way, I love the chaos of March Madness. I love to watch the underdog beat the team that is just supposed to run all over them. And to me, I would say this College World Series, in the sense that, like we said earlier, it's been one-run games, makes your argument stronger.
Yep.
But a lot of times, there's so many like buzzer beaters in the March Madness series. It comes down to the last second, someone heaves up a shot and somehow makes it. I don't know. I can't say that I'm good with it. I'm gonna have to say not good with it. I could see overrated. You're getting close. Like I could see, for some people, the way that they view March Madness, I would say that they have it overrated. But as America overall, I don't think so. So I'm gonna say not good with it.
I think basketball's easier to follow too. Truth be told, I don't mean to.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, I don't mean to offend anybody. I think basketball's
There's
easier
a
to follow
reason
than.
that if a
Easier to
kid
watch,
can't
too.
fall asleep, they put a basketball game on because his head can just do this the whole time. And that's it. There's nothing to it. There's no juice to it. There's no spaz to it. Okay, basketball's overrated entirely.
What do they do when they watch baseball?
Yeah.
Kids don't watch baseball. Men watch baseball.
Well,
Apparently, you got to play it to watch it. So
Exactly.
that's why I played high school.
did you play?
I did.
Yeah, he did. I can attest. He did.
Did you play?
I played.
You got on the field?
I got on the field.
Okay.
AB can attest. I tackled an umpire one time.
He did. On plate, playing catcher.
He had arthritis. I felt bad after.
That was pretty rough. Yeah, I would say that. Now, let me ask you this though: if you were to take, okay, so let's just say, so March Madness is a tournament, but technically, if you say the college baseball playoffs, that would be the tournament of heading up to regionals,
That's what I'm saying.
super regionals, then the College World Series.
The regionals is the equivalent of the 64 team matchup. The super regional is equivalent to Sweet 16.
Yeah.
Omaha. Right now, we're technically in the Final Four. In Omaha is equivalent of this round of Omaha, but it's just worded different.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it comes at a great time of year. There's not really any sports going on right now other than MLB. This is kind of the down part of MLB right now because it's almost the All-Star split coming up. So it's kind of people are craving good content.
You could argue, though, that March Madness comes at the best time of year.
Why is that?
Because you're just coming off the end of college football,
Okay.
so you still have that high.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have March Madness kicking in.
Mm-hmm.
And then the weekend after that, you have the Masters.
Mm-hmm.
You also have turkey season as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
am I going to sit there, hunt turkeys, and watch basketball at the same time? No, I'm going to hunt turkeys. Am I going to sit there and
Everybody
prepare?
plays at 7 a.m.
yeah,
You don't hunt all day?
I know you
I
don't.
kill my birds first thing in the morning and I go home.
I remember my first
a
turkey
real man.
hunt. Let me tell you, if you ain't hunting all day, you ain't hunting.
Go. You know what I'm doing during March?
Hey, if you ain't grilling,
And
you ain't
grilling.
chilling.
All right. Well, there you have it. March Madness is overrated. Good with it or not.
I wanted to
2v2.
fire up the boys this morning.
Good way to do it.
Yeah, whatever.
I felt some steam coming off Mitch.
I knew I'd get him riled up.
It was
Well,
getting a little warm over
Well,
here.
when you came out and you said it's the worst sporting event in the history of
Yeah, I mean,
mankind,
Let me just preface
backed
this.
off.
I used to tolerate it until
you
one
stood
year.
up on your stance, and then we backed you down. If anything,
You remember the year Villanova won at the buzzer from
Which year?
half court?
yeah,
That was awesome.
Chris Jenkins from
Yes.
Ryan's Yard.
I know you know that to a T because let me tell you, the next day it was a Wednesday night at youth. And you know what we did for a solid hour before an hour and a solid hour after church? Mitch wanted to recreate the shot.
Yeah,
So we sat there at like the half court and he's like, oh, and he just yell, Villanova, like they do.
yeah, man.
And I had to, every time they go and shoot, I had to go,
Let's just
Villanova.
let's
What
just.
March
ever
Madness
since
does
then,
to a man.
I was gonna say, let's just take what I love and just make fun of me for it. So I love it.
Was he eating Jersey Mike's?
Yeah, was I eating Jersey Mike's? What's the did
Was
I
the
have
roof
Captain
with the
Crunch?
roof of his mouth?
Yeah.
I wish I was there. I could just see it. Villanova.
And you know, I'm just sitting there, dude, you're not going to make it stop.
I'm sure I made it at some point.
Did he finally make it?
Probably not.
Yeah, I did.
Wow. Shots fired.
You know I got a shot in me, Cole. Come on now.
Good grief. Well, there you have it. March Madness is overrated. Good with it or not. 2v2. Get the fellows fired
Down
up.
the
Let
middle.
it be known we backed Cole down though, Jarrett.
Yep.
We did.
We've already won.
We have. We have.
I've been watching Suits, so I'm sharpened up on how to win an argument.
Well, Cole, I liked the question. I thought it was good. I think they just have you rephrase the question to a more
Forced it.
easier, to a more easier.
Could understand it because
Yeah.
all they do is
To a
watch
more-
basketball, so their brain doesn't
Yeah.
comprehend like we do when we play
You
baseball.
rephrased it
Smart.
in a way to
5,
where
4, 3, 2,
people,
1, double
someone
play.
might actually
Yeah.
agree with you.
Yeah.
'Cause
Somebody's
you knew you were
gonna
get
listen
blown
to
out of
it,
the water.
and when we start the segment, they'll be like, "No."
Yeah.
And then by the time we end this segment, they'll be like, "Okay."
That's a sign of a good question. Okay, when you immediately think something.
No, that's the sign of
and then you
retracting
ponder
your
on it and
original
you say,
statement.
Actually, that makes sense. I get it now. Yes, I agree.
Oh, I don't.
So March Madness is overrated. Good with it or not. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break.
Jump into the book.
Then we're going to jump into the book. Worship. Real men worship. Lessons from the psalmists. So just make sure you stay tuned.
Welcome back to the Good With It podcast. We are one less if you're watching the YouTube video. Cole just rubbed Mitch the wrong way and he couldn't handle it anymore.
We had some behind the scenes stuff that was just ugly.
He's
So
outta
got him
here.
Out of here.
No, truth be told, we're doing this early in the morning and Mitch had to go to work. So we're going to hold down the fort as best we can without him. And we are going to get into, what chapter is this, 5? I think so.
Yeah.
We're going with 5. Chapter 5 of Men of the Word, and the whole topic of conversation in this chapter and for us this morning is that real men love to worship. Lessons from the hymn writers of Israel through the book of Psalms. So, definitely a topic that I'm passionate about. I know we're all passionate about, but I think one that I think as a worship leader for many years, one that I always dove into, one that I tried to understand at a deep level, and so one that I'm very passionate about, one I feel like the Lord has always kind of used in my life, and so a chapter that I enjoyed. And so this morning, why don't we, if there's anything that kind of stood out to you guys, but I think like last week, why don't we go through like the main kind of points, and
Sounds good.
we'll just kind of discuss those and what kind of comes to mind when you think about these points of topics. So point 1 that he makes here in this chapter is that true worship longs for fellowship with God. Thoughts on that, AB?
Says, having experienced the transcendent beauty of God's presence, the psalmist was so consumed with it that he desperately wanted more. Just the idea that worship's not about how good you sing. Worship's not about the musical instruments, how good the worship team sounds. That does not prove a good worship and truthful worship experience. As this book says, true worship longs for fellowship with God. And so you can be the worst singer in the world and have a beautiful worship experience. I think that's the beauty of worshiping God. That's the beauty of how He created worship. And if we look at it in this sense, true worship longs for God. That is the idea of it's not just music. It's not just singing. It's everything that we do. One of the things that Cole's very passionate about is cultivating the land, maintaining the land. Right, that is Cole's form of worship. It's not singing. It's not playing instruments. Cole is worshiping the Lord as he is out taking care of God's creation. So when I think of that's number one. That's an important point. But it's also an encouraging point that it's not just whether or not you can sing or not. It's not just whether you can play an instrument or not. Worship can be in all forms of what we do in life, work, play, singing, whatever it might be. As long as we are longing for fellowship with God, we are in true worship.
Yep. And I think an important point is that worship is not about us. Right, and so it should draw us to the Lord. And if it's not drawing us to the Lord, then it's not proper worship. And so worship is designed for us to enjoy the fellowship of God, the goodness of God, the glory of God. Point 2: true worship seeks satisfaction in the Lord. Cole, what are your thoughts about how worship seeks and helps us seek satisfaction in the Lord?
If we always just kind of look to Christ in all that we do, that's what I've always thought of worship, is just truly being satisfied in the Lord. So no matter what we're doing, as long as we're not putting something ahead of Christ in all that we do, whether it is when we're on the golf course or when we're just hanging out together, enjoying each other's company, as long as we're being satisfied in the Lord above all things on this earth, then that's true form of worship. Because of that satisfaction in Him, we're going to see Him through His creation. We're going to see Him through the things that are given to us and the things that we're called to do in our lives through our careers and our families. There's so many idols in this world that we can get wrapped up in, and typically money, fame, fortune, all that's an idol, but in reality, your family can be an idol. In reality, your job can be an idol. Your dog, in my case, could be an idol. But if you find true satisfaction in Christ, then the things of this world are going to be in its place. And that's what we're called to do, is worship.
Yep. Point 3, true worship persists through difficult times. He says in here, real men love to worship even in the midst of trials, or perhaps a better way of putting it is this: real men love to worship especially in the midst of trials. We do not have to endure hardship in our own strength. So, the point isn't that, hardships should create worship in us, that we are always should be worshiping. That's what we were created to do in all seasons. But there is a sense, I think, of in those seasons and in the midst of hardships, there's a hyper focus, I think, on how little control, how little power that we have. And there is a sense of, I have to rely on God, that this situation, whatever it may be, is forcing me to put God in his proper place. And I think that heightens our sense of worship and our attitude of worship. And so I think that's the kind of overriding main point in that. And I've seen that be absolutely true in my life. Sad to say, I think when things are, when things are going really well, like that's when you would worship God really well. I don't necessarily find that true in my life. I think when things are going well, I'm like, man, I'm the man. But I think in those seasons when hardships come, it really straightens me out. It's like, yeah, you're not as good as you think you are. In fact, you're not really good at all. So why don't you focus on me for a little bit? Yeah. So point 4, true worship delights in God's forgiveness. AB, thoughts on that part of the chapter?
Sure, absolutely. Talks about we cannot talk about wholehearted worship without addressing the confession of, repentance from, and cleansing of sin. After all, the only person whose sin has been completely dealt with can enjoy unhindered fellowship with God. So when we think about true forgiveness, what it looks like, it should bring us to a heart of worship. It should bring us to, you think of all the bad things you've ever done in your life, and then you see that I've had God himself come down in human form, pay the ultimate price so that I can be forgiven of my sins that I've committed. If you're not there, you can't worship God. If you're not to that point, if you can say that I don't see the point of forgiveness of God, then you cannot worship God truthfully. Yep. So true worship does seek forgiveness. It does seek, and it's not just one time, right? Yes, yeah. Christ has justified us, right? And we're now justified before the Father, but does not mean that our sanctification is finished. We are continuing to become holy, to be more like Christ, and we're never going to get there until we're on the other side of the river. A lot of people use that as an analogy, until we are in heaven, right? Until we pass from this life to the next. So just understanding that when you're worshiping truthfully, you are wholly seeking after God's forgiveness, and you are repenting daily of the sins that you've committed. When you are doing that, you are worshiping God truthfully, and you are worshiping God wholly, and you're going to be more satisfied in the worship that you have before God.
Yep. And then going hand in hand, I think, with that, because you can't have the forgiveness you need without the cross. And Cole, I think you're a good one to speak to this, because I think when we did maybe the hymns, you talked about how you had heard that, if there's not mention of the cross in a song, that's really what makes a good song, is kind of the gospel message woven throughout a hymn, and so or a worship song. So point 5 is true worship centers on the cross. Cole, what are your thoughts on that?
Our whole lives are revolved around that.
Yep.
We live for Christ because he died for us, and it's not because we have to, it's because we want to. We want to serve him in a way that we see the goodness of him and his grace and his new mercy every day. And what is that for? If he died for nothing, then why what is our point here? And if that's the case, then let's serve him in our whole life. Let's find satisfaction in him, but let's also love on people in all that we do and encourage people. And there's a true form of worship when you're constantly loving people and sharing God's grace, love, and mercy to people daily. And that's what we're called to do in life, is to love God and love people.
Amen.
And that's a true form of worship right there.
Yep.
Amen.
Yeah, so we'll end this segment by, I want to read how he ends this chapter. He says that godly men, I would add women as well, love to worship. Resolve your soul to follow the example of the psalmist. Humble yourself, acknowledge your need for God, and confess your sin. Reflect on his character, remember his faithfulness, treasure his word, and delight in it. Glory in the gospel of Jesus Christ, and saturate your soul in the excellent truths of our sovereign Lord. Find your satisfaction in him. Seek to be consumed with the knowledge of God in Christ, and, music or no music, your heart will overflow in praise, thanksgiving, and wholehearted worship. We were created to worship. It's what we do.
Amen.
Well, that's been another Good With It podcast early on this Wednesday morning for us.
Yes.
Hopefully you're listening early on Friday morning.
Yes.
And check us out on YouTube. Go like, subscribe. Also, do us a favor. If you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you listen to podcasts, if you're just listening to the audio version of this, like and subscribe. That really helps us kind of get out there. It boosts us up towards the top of the charts. And when people look up these types of things, they find us much more easily. So if you're looking to help us out, a simple way to do that is just to rate us, like us, subscribe to the podcast. That'll help us out. Also have some big things coming down the chute. So stay tuned. Follow us on social media. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you'll see all of our videos.
Yep.
And we're on to the Patreon segment. So if you're a Patreon member, listen up.
Yes.
We're about to go into our Patreon segment.
Yes, and to get people even more interested in hearing what our Patreon segments will be and what they are, it's topics that we are discussing. It could be controversial topics. It could be fun topics. But today I feel like it's going to be a controversial topic, because today we're going to talk about, is elevation, is Bethel, is Hillsong worship actual true worship?
All right.
So make sure that you tune in for that and to hear our thoughts. Hear what we have to say about that. I know that's a hot topic in some circles. So if you're a patron, make sure you tune in. If you're not a patron, only $5 a month. You pay for Netflix,
Minimum.
which is minimum. Which Netflix is, $7.99 if you're in another household. So
It's even more than that.
yeah,
It's
even
cheaper
more
than
than
Netflix.
that. Yes, it's cheaper than Netflix.
If you pay for this, we'll $7.99 a month. We'll just tell you what's on Netflix and give you a synopsis of it as well. So we'll help you out.
We'll have watch parties.
There you go.
So, yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Jarrett, for closing us. Whose turn is it to pray? Who prayed last time?
I'll pray. I feel like I haven't prayed in a while.
Yeah, I'm going to pray.
I'll pray. Dear Lord, just thank you for today. God, thank you for who you are. God, your goodness and your faithfulness. God, the promises that you have given us, the forgiveness that you have given us through the power of your blood spilled for us on the cross. And so, God, just pray that as we live our lives, God, I pray that we would live lives of worship in ways that we worship you in spirit and in truth. And God, that we would set ourselves aside, that we would pick up our cross, that we would follow you. And God, that you would create in us clean hearts. God, that you would purify us in a way that our hearts and our minds, God, everything that we do would be centered on you, that it would be focused on you. And God, that everything that we do, God, whether it's through song or whether it's through our jobs or through our roles in the home, God, the way that we conduct ourselves in our communities, God, I just pray that it would all be done in an act of worship towards you, and that everything that we do would glorify and honor the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. And so we worship you this morning. We give you praise in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.